Picture this. You're wrapping up a beautiful vacation in Phuket, you're settled into your seat on a perfectly normal flight heading home to Delhi, and you're just relaxed, right? Maybe you're looking out the window, just waiting for that smooth touchdown in a few minutes. And then, bam, without absolutely any warning, your entire world just violently shakes. Well, today, in this explainer, we're going to break down a terrifying near disaster that just recently unfolded on an Air India flight. And more importantly, we're going to look closely at the completely invisible threat in the sky that actually caused it. To really wrap our heads around the gravity of this whole situation, we have to think about the human element first. There were exactly 134 people on board this aircraft, 134 souls, plus the crew, all just sitting there waiting to get home safely. And then, literally just moments before the plane was supposed to land, a massive, violent jolt rocks the entire aircraft. Now, to be clear, we are not talking about that little bit of standard turbulence that, makes the coffee in your cup ripple. No, this was an immense, forceful shock. It suddenly and aggressively slammed into every single person inside that cabin.
So inside the cabin, this totally routine descent abruptly flips into pure chaos. The peaceful journey, completely shattered. And what makes this specific incident so incredibly harrowing is the absolute element of surprise. I mean, nobody on board, not the passengers, not even the flight attendants, had any clue what was about to happen. There was no familiar ding of the fasten seatbelt sign turning on, no calm, reassuring warning from the cockpit, nothing. Just a sudden, terrifying shift from total calm to absolute panic. What is truly frightening here is just the sheer physical force involved. When you look at the reports and the visuals from inside the cabin after all this happened, cracks actually appeared in the ceiling of the plane. Just think about that for a second. The engineering behind modern commercial jets is incredibly robust, right? They're literally built to withstand tremendous stress. So for a sudden gust of wind to be violent enough to cause visible structural damage to the interior panels of the cabin, yeah, that tells you exactly how massive this shockwave truly was.
And because the plane was thrown around so unexpectedly and so aggressively, the people inside took a real physical beating. This violent shaking ended up injuring both passengers and crew members. In fact, it was severe enough that when they finally did land in Delhi, several people couldn't just grab their bags and head home. They actually required immediate transport to the hospital for medical care. And, while reports indicate these were minor injuries, the trauma of being violently thrown against your seat when you're completely unprepared, that is definitely something that stays with you.
So, the big question, the one you're probably asking yourself right now is, how does this even happen? Why didn't the pilot know about the danger? We live in an era of super advanced weather radar, continuous satellite tracking, you name it. Normally, pilots can see bad weather from miles and miles away and just fly around it. So how on earth could a modern commercial jet slam into something this destructive without a single warning alarm going off in the cockpit?
Well, the culprit is this crazy, invisible phenomenon known as clear air turbulence, or CAT for short. Basically, this is a sudden, incredibly strong gust of wind that happens without any clouds or visual cues whatsoever. There's no storm system popping up on the radar, no ominous dark clouds outside the pilot's window. It is completely invisible. It's essentially like hitting a massive pothole in the sky, and because neither the pilot's eyes nor their highly advanced instruments can actually see it coming, they just fly into it completely blind.
But to really put this into perspective, timing is absolutely everything here, because as terrifying as this midair jolt was, it honestly could have been so much worse. The aircraft was jolted severely, yes, but it was still high up in the air during its descent. Now imagine if this invisible wall of wind had struck just a few minutes later. I'm talking right during the actual touchdown phase, when the plane is mere feet off the runway, moving at super high speeds with absolutely zero room for air. If that clear air turbulence had hit during the landing impact, the outcome could have easily shifted from minor injuries to a major catastrophic disaster. Fortunately, the pilots did an incredible job. They managed to maintain control and brought the flight to a safe landing in Delhi. So there's a huge sigh of relief that everyone survived, and the injured were quickly taken to the hospital for treatment. But the story doesn't just end on the tarmac. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the DGCA, they are stepping in to initiate a very comprehensive safety check. They're going to investigate exactly what happened, assess the actual aircraft for any deeper structural damage, and figure out if there are any technological blind spots that need to be fixed immediately.
Which really brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Despite so much incredible technology, are we ultimately helpless before the forces of nature? I mean, we build these flying supercomputers, we map the skies, we track the weather down to the absolute minute, and yet a completely invisible gust of wind can still toss a massive airliner around like it's a plastic toy, cracking its ceiling and sending people to the hospital. It is a stark, very humbling reminder that even with all of our amazing advancements in aviation safety, the raw, unseen forces of nature remain a really formidable and unpredictable threat. It's for sure something to think about the next time you buckle your seatbelt for descent.